Hey, and welcome to today's episode. Well, today I want to talk about my absolute favorite topic. And although human design is completely intertwined with this topic for me, I got to say it does just pip human design at the post for me. And that is manifesting. What is manifesting? Well, in my opinion, it's basically how I put into a bucket creating my life. It's often the thing that I refer to as success, creating your reality, creating abundance, creating freedom. But ultimately, there is still that child inside of me that feels like it's magic. It's the magic of creating a life beyond your wildest dreams. And in so many cases, and it was definitely in my experience in my mid 20s to mid 30s, that I was not creating the most magical life. I was not living beyond my wildest dreams. I was living my own personal hell, to be honest. And this is actually where my fascination with manifestation really kind of birthed itself. Even though I've always had this knowing, I don't know about you, but if you always had this knowing that even as a kid, you were like, I am creating this. And I'm pretty confident most of you listening to this podcast will have felt that way. Well, this obsession of mine, manifesting, has really helped me to create an incredible life. Even when I go through really challenging times, all I got to do is get to the end of the day, ground in, actually take a step back and see this incredible life that I've created consciously and remind myself that really, whatever challenge I think I'm facing right now, it's probably being made worse than it actually is in my own mind. And that same mind is what is creating so much of my reality. So today I want to talk about something that I'm going to go in more depth on my masterclass on Thursday. So if you haven't got your ticket, go freaking get it. But I want to really talk about this shift that I'm seeing with manifesting. Now, I started like so many manifestation geeks. I started with Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I also love The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn. And there are so many books of that era, of that time, that really opened us up to this idea that, as they say in the Emerald Tablets, that everything is mind, that what we think is what we create. So for so many years, I actually used to spin my wheels a lot on this because I would be trying so hard. And I am your classic overachiever. Yes, friend, I see you. That tries way too hard. One of my greatest lessons over the last few years is to stop forcing and just allow things to come to me. But back then, that's all we were talking about in this space. Like, okay, we've got to think it into existence. I mean, we all remember The Secret, right? Your thoughts will be your creations. And this was this time where I can remember that it was that edge where manifestation was like what you think about, what you focus on, that's everything. And then there was this dawning. There was this dawning of, hang on a second, it's not just about what we focus on, it's about the action that we take, that we have to be taking action in the direction of our goals. And we had so many big coaches that would be like, take massive action. So we created this hustle culture, even in manifesting, even though there's this overlaying, like when you're in flow, when you focus on what you want, when you think about the things you want to co-create, they kind of appear. I don't know about you, but we were all, in my world, hustling our butts, trying to control our thinking, trying to, endlessly write out what we want and who we are. And so it is. And as we started to shift into this new kind of manifestation era, we started to understand quantum physics. It went deeper. We started to realize that we want to be taking aligned action. and that we really are creating our reality through our mind. However, we started to understand about our frequency. And frequency is more than thinking because it's our feeling. And I think this is the place where so many of us have kind of transitioned into, but we're a little bit lost. And human design, in my opinion, is one of the ways that we can really start to get out of the head and into the body. We can really start to get to a place where we can feel what we want to create. But this experiment that this line 3 has been doing for, I'm going to say, the last 18 months, to really dive deeper into manifesting, really listening to all these, the big names in manifesting. What are they talking about? Where are the nuances? What is working and what is not working? And one of the shifts that I've really noticed is there was a lot of manifestation teachers working on clearing out the blocks, which is great because we need to get the subconscious mind and the identity and especially the governing beliefs, we need to get them in alignment with what we want to create. However, what it was also creating was all of these people, and I don't know about you, but I was one of them, that spent so much time focusing on their shadows, on their limiting beliefs. And, it felt like to manifest something was like effort. There was a lot of effort. Even though teachers were saying this is how you do it effortlessly, I was like, seriously? I don't want to listen to a meditation every bloody day and then go through my limiting beliefs and then reparent and reprogram. Like, whoa, that's a lot. And I actually did one of the leading programs, which I love, don't get me wrong, but I found I would end up getting more depressed because I was focusing so much on my blocks. I was first introduced to the Analemma when listening to Luke Story's podcast, and it absolutely blew my mind. I mean, I understand the importance of water on our health and well-being, but I didn't realize the huge impact drinking coherent water has on our energy, vitality, and longevity. The physical state of water plays such a key role in our biology of life. Did you know that water is the conduit communicating between life, i.e., our bodies, the sun, the earth, and the quantum field? And the more coherent the water, the better the communication. And unfortunately, most of the water that we drink these days has been changed from its natural coherent state through this process of modern water systems and treatments. The Analemma is a tool that enhances the quality of our drinking water by transforming it into coherent, liquid crystalline state, a groundbreaking technology with scientifically proven benefits. I first experienced the Analemma last year after hearing the incredible benefits they had discovered from their 13 plus years of research. These were including things like improved skin, increased energy, balancing the gut microbiome, and research even shows that the Analemma water reduces your biological age after drinking it for just 3 months. I mean, look, I've been drinking it now for nearly 2 years and look at me. But seriously, I take this little device, the Analemma, everywhere I go because it makes water or any liquid I'm drinking coherent. So my body can get the most goodness out of it. And honestly, so it can also detox all the not so great stuff in the water that I'm drinking more easily. So if you want to hear my first-hand line 3 experiences of the Analemma on my body, and you want to hear more of their powerful research, then feel free to tune into episode 231 of this podcast. Otherwise, if you're just ready to go out and grab one, follow the links in the show notes and make sure you use my unique code when at the checkout. Enjoy. So, this new iteration, the last 18 months, I've really wanted to understand this difference between, okay, it's in the mind, but it's also the frequency, so it's how I feel. But if I'm focused on the things that are holding me back, is that actually creating more of what's holding me back? Do I have to clear my trauma to be able to manifest my dreams? Like, I've been asking myself all of these questions, and I've been really diving into so many different, I'm going to say, experts in the category, the manifesting category. Mind you, everyone's an expert on manifesting these days. Have you noticed? To try and find, okay, what really worked for me, because I now am grateful to say that I have so much past history of manifesting beyond my wildest dreams. And one of the things that really hit me was my greatest manifestations were not things that I wrote down. Maybe I did once upon a time, but they were things that I maybe said out loud once. I knew in my heart it was something. It's like if I envisioned my future self, like that future self had that thing. But even then, there was no great effort. It was just something I knew. So I was really curious about this, because I felt that the more effort I put in, the more, I'm going to say, clarity I tried to build, the further away my manifestations would get. And so what I was curious about is, well, how can I then manifest my book that was so easy? Manifest, my business that was so easy. How can I manifest my dream horse that was so easy? How can I manifest Taylor? That was so easy. And these are all things that I never spent much time focused on. So that kind of blew my mind, because I'm always banging on about, okay, well, what you focus on is what you get, which is true. However, it brought me to this place of really understanding my manifestation had really expanded and become more easy the more I'd worked with my design, the more I had come back to my authenticity. And it made me wonder, like, am I now even manifesting things that I consciously want to manifest? Or is this my soul just aligned to my purpose and calling in the things that, are part of the contract that I had as I came into this life? And honestly, I now have experimented so much, and I realize that manifesting, one of the keys to manifesting is that you have to feel like whatever you want to co-create is natural. It's not acting as if, because when you're acting as if, you feel like you're pretending to do something until it happens. It's like that thing has to feel so natural, it'll walk into your life tomorrow. And what I started to really understand is that the more aligned to my design I am, the more I don't even think about it. And then I might be in conversation and something comes out of my mouth, and I don't know, 2 days, 2 months, 2 years later, boom, that thing is in my life. And I really think that manifesting itself is changing. And in fact, just listening to my words, I don't think that it's manifesting that's changing, but I think as our consciousness rises, we're changing, and it's becoming easier and easier and easier. And I know that I've manifested a lot of things when I still have unresourceful beliefs or I still have blocks, but because I can feel the being that already has created that thing, then that thing still comes to me. So what I'm so fascinated by right now is this deep understanding of when we are our most authentic self, it becomes so easy to call in the things that are correct for us. Now, isn't that fascinating? Because we're in a time in history where we are, 2 years away from the new paradigm. We are in this huge transformational phase, whether it's, what the Mayan calendar predicted, or it's the age of Aquarius, where we are now talking so much about AI. And I mean, I use AI so much. And what I see is becoming this new world is that this information age that we live in, we will no longer be the information resource. Okay. So people who come to me as a world-renowned coach, they can get that coaching anywhere. They can get it from ChatGPT. People who come to me for human design specifically, again, they can get that information anywhere. But this is where I really think, and again, I'm going to teach this on this masterclass because it's so important. We have to change our own paradigm now instead of waiting the next 2 years to understand that if you're really ready, then you need to understand that whatever information you have is about to become obsolete. If you want to have success, let's say in your business, then you must be the most authentic version of you, because that's what people are going to pay for. People want to be in the room with you. It's not about, the information is secondary. I know for me, like, why do you listen to this podcast? Yes, you want to learn about human design, but I know, friend, that there is something about me that draws you in. And I am so curious because I feel like this is the key to this new paradigm, to this new era that we're moving into, this new world where we can let go of having to have all the answers or having to have all the information, or focusing all on the logical mental steps to get to a place, run all the strategies, run all the, well, I can't manifest things if I don't go through this step-by-step guide. I have to have my self-worth over here, and I have to have, resourceful belief over there. And I actually think that is all starting to fall away. And it just comes back to authenticity. Now, you guys have heard me bang on about this before, and I'm going to say it again. This is about that original frequency that you were born with. And I am definitely learning firsthand in my life that the more I can let go and surrender to my original frequency, the more freaking magic just turns up. I could not have planned how things have been going or how things would go in my life. Let's say growing this business. I know that my ego in the beginning was very attached to how I wanted it to look and what I wanted to create. Whereas now I'm not attached to that so much. I'm actually just being very conscious of my energy. Is my business aligned to my design? Is the work that I'm doing, does it light me up? Is it covering off my specific superpowers, being a 3-5? Am I conscious that creating community is a huge part of what I do, because that's my personality sun? So as I run my experiment, as I integrate all of this beautiful human design stuff, which really, the more we learn it, the more we experiment with it, the more we play with it, it's all really about feeling safe. It's about feeling safe to let go. It's about feeling safe to be ourselves. It's about feeling safe to be all of us, and knowing that that is the key to calling in a life beyond our wildest dreams. And I genuinely believe that once we really get it, and not just like intellectually get it, but in the body, that ultimately our human design, and our authenticity, once we can master the being of that, then we're manifesting at light speed, because we are think about it this way. We're born with a specific song or radio station. That's our original frequency. Then we go through this process, right? And the process is the brain is in theta. It's wide open. It can't discern. It doesn't know good, bad, right or wrong. It just takes everything in as truth. And that becomes our conditioning, because we have 3 things that we give a shit about once we're born until the age of 7. And that is that we are nurtured, taken care of, and loved, that we belong, and that we are enough. And if those things are taken care of, then we're all good. So what happens is that we get conditioned to make sure that those things happen. But what if we were born and we already knew that there's nothing to be, there's nothing we need to do, there's nothing we need to change about ourselves? Like, this is the key. And there's going to be generations very soon. I mean, Ra definitely predicted this new human in 2027, the rave human that is going to be so different, especially emotionally. But the whole point is, you're born, you have a song, then that song, that dial, that radio dial gets interfered. It gets turned left and right by your parents, by society, by your schooling. And that dial is you as an adult trying to freaking like, oh, no, I have to be more of that. Oh, I need to be less of that. No, I need to do this to get what I want. I need to do that. And it's like that song is just fuzzy at best. But what we need to do is we need to tune back in. How do we tune back in? We have to let go. First, we need to know who we are and why we're here, align to that authentic truth. And then it's this journey of just letting go and trusting life. And I say that with such reverence because letting go and trusting life was not something that came easily to me. Trust me on that. I'm going through doing some therapy at the moment, doing some EMDR, and I actually discovered like this real deep fear that if I get too peaceful, that my heart will stop and I will stop breathing. And because it's my responsibility to keep those things going. So I totally get that when I say, so we just have to surrender to the universe, surrender to life. For some of us, it's just not a click of the fingers, it's done. However, when we are actually every day practicing, allowing ourselves to be the most authentic version of ourselves, then we start to build the muscle of trust in ourselves, trust in life, trust in the universe. And as that starts to unfold, that's when the magic happens. So, for all of you out there that have been hustling and grinding to succeed, to manifest, you don't need to. The truth is that it's already all encoded in you. You don't even need the step-by-step, because trust me, I have all the books and they're amazing, but you don't even need that. You are intrinsically coded to call in, to attract, to magnetize to you the life beyond your wildest dreams. So let me leave you with this. What if you knew that for sure? What if you knew for sure that there was absolutely nothing you had to do? And all of those dreams that you can feel in your heart, all of that potential that you know is as yet unfulfilled and unmet, but you knew it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's a done deal. Who would you be? How would you feel? Because that is the frequency of your greatness, of your success in any area of your life. All right. I trust you got what you needed from today's episode. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to having you on the next one. Bye for now.